Hello, America. Welcome to an edition of Driving with Dave. We're not driving, we're parked in a parking lot. But I woke up today and I was just kind of tired of it. Tired of the bickering. Whether it's Democrat versus Republican, whether it's, Trump did everything to be impeached versus Trump hasn't done anything wrong. Whether it's, if you're a Christian, you voted for Trump, you have no moral ground Trump can do no wrong. It's almost like nobody really thinks there's anybody somewhere in the middle, or maybe someone is actually able to stand back and look at things from a different perspective. And I'll tell you what, those of you who claim to be Christians, and I mean Christ followers, forget your denominations, forget everything. If you claim to be a Christ follower, you should know, you should be aware of the signs of the times. And I mean in the prophetic, the biblical prophetic sense, the signs of the times. You should know, you should understand that the next event that occurs is likely the rapture of the church. The end is near. This is for everyone. The end is near. You better get ready. The end of what? The end of the world? It depends on how you mean it. As we know it, it's getting ready to radically change. And I'm talking about the globalists, and that's where I want to draw your attention. Anti-Trump people. I'm talking to the ones who claim to be Christ followers, biblical doctrine foundation. Okay? If you claim to be that, you need to step back and look at Trump from something other than your moral friggin' DS that you're on. Get off of it. There's something bigger than your moral judgment, because you're judging someone else based on what you see. And you're taking what you see as taking precedent over what the Bible is telling us where we're at. You need to look at this. Step back and check yourself. What is your religion? Is it your moral high ground? Is that your religion? It better not be. There's a transition that started May 14th, 1948. Check your history. What happened on that day? Something that's never happened before. There was a transition that began. It's a transition. You have two ages that are now overlapping. One is building up, and the other is maturing and coming to an end. The one that is maturing and coming to an end began on the day of Pentecost, the birth of the church. The mostly accepted day that the church would begin. So May 14th, 1948 was the day that Israel regained its statehood, yes? So Trump is voted in as president, and you want to start waving around your moral sticks, your gavels at everyone who says, I'm a Christian and I voted for Trump. And you can go pull out all your little, claims to be pro-life, most pro-life president ever. Yeah, right. Well, what about this, and this, and this? And, slept with prostitutes, probably had them have abortions and, whatever, okay? He's not doing that now. And so it's like, nobody can ever change, right? Where were you before you became a Christian? What sin do you have difficulty with now? Don't start judging his morality so that you can feel good about not voting for him. I don't care whether you voted for him or not. I did. And it didn't have anything to do with being who he is. It didn't have anything to do. I didn't like him. Really, I really didn't like him. And there's a lot I still don't like about him. But he is the tool that is being used to bring this transition to a head. And what I mean by that, he's put in place because of how pro-life he is. That is to our benefit. Okay? As America, that is to our benefit. He's put in place because he does believe in religious liberty. And you know what? And neither one of those two things have anything to do with who Paula White is. I don't like her as a teacher. I don't think she should be anywhere near the president's ear. Okay? But the sanctity of life and religious liberties are two of the three reasons I voted for him. Third, his support for Israel. The promise given to Abraham by God is, he who blesses Israel will be blessed. We can look at everything that Trump has done and say, you know what, it makes no sense why any of it has succeeded. No sense, none whatsoever. I'll tell you why it has succeeded. It has absolutely zero to do with Trump. The fact that our economy is doing so well really has zero to do with Trump. He made some decisions that, Shannon Joy, yes, if God's hand weren't involved in this, should be an utter failure. Should be. As a matter of fact, everything that Trump touched, has touched, touches, will touch, should be an utter failure. But it's not, because God is blessing America because Jerusalem has been claimed, it has been shouted from the roof. When United States says something, it's like going up on the highest mountaintop and everybody hears it from a bullhorn. So when United States says we recognize Jerusalem as the eternal capital of Israel, we move our embassy to Israel so that it's not just talk. We recognize Israel's sovereignty over the Golan Heights. And that's not all that's coming. You know that today is the unveiling of the peace plan. Jerusalem, from what I understand, Jerusalem is not going to be cut in two. Everything there is intended to give Israel the sovereignty that it's supposed to have over its land that has been usurped by the Palestinians, who, by the way, are essentially refugees. Well, they're descendants of refugees. They're not refugees anymore. They're descendants of refugees. The UN has conveniently given them this perpetual refugee status. Trump is not here for the sole benefit of America. As a matter of fact, most of what he's here for is to push that transition, fulfill God's plan. And when he is done with Donald Trump, when Trump has finished the little bit that God has for him to do, he's done. That may be this impeachment. He may be done. Easily. It looks like this impeachment could go one way or the other. And right now I'm kind of tired of it. One part of me says, you know what? You people that are belly aching about Trump, who are conservatives or Republicans or whatever, all you do is belly ache about Trump. But I don't see any other candidates stepping up to the plate. So shut up. Until you're putting a candidate up there to run, shut up. I really don't have anything. You need to step back and look at Trump from a different light. Quit looking at him from your moral place. He is a secular person. He happens to have some disciplines that he respects, and it comes from his mother. His mother taught him the little bit that he does know. Unfortunately, someone else has stepped in and I think poisoned it and diluted it. So pray for him. Quit belly aching about him. Just pray for him. And Paula White will be bound and shut up and thrown out. She needs to she's a false teacher, so she did what every false teacher does. She found the money, found the power, and oozed up next to it. Okay? She is merchandising off of Trump. Okay? Trump won't see it. He thinks that he's doing the right thing. So pray for him. It just aggravates me to no end. You didn't vote, and then you complain about his moral failures. Well, everybody's got moral failures. There was no politician going to do what Trump has done for religious liberty, pro-life, and Israel. Period. So, get over yourself. Humble yourself. Step back and look at this from a biblical, eternal perspective. It's not what it seems to be. It is no coincidence that both Benjamin Netanyahu and President Trump are trying to be removed from office at the same time. Yes, they're trying to. Netanyahu is under indictment, which they're trying to make it so that it prevents him from running again. Because I guarantee you, this peace plan gets out there, it may very well bolster his party. Trump is going through this impeachment. There are 3 individuals in this world, and this too, my fellow Christian brothers and sisters, this too should give you pause to at least respect Trump in this. There is a globalist agenda which, if you know your Bible prophecy, there is a new world order to be formed. A one global government. Yes? Okay. There are 3 individuals in this world standing in front of that. Trump, Netanyahu, and what's his name, Boris Johnson. Those 3 individuals. The globalist elite don't want them in watch. Boris Johnson, if he starts ruffling too many feathers, they're going to find a way to try and get him out of there. It's already bad enough that that England, the UK, is following through with their Brexit. Well, that puts a chink in the whole globalist agenda, doesn't it? So you got to step back and look at this from more than just this little narrow Trump is an a-hole, immoral, whatever. There's a lot more to it than what you're giving it credit. The fact that you're ignoring it is really what agitates me the most. It's fine to disagree with what he does, but get off this rest of it, this never Trumper stuff. You've got to start looking at this. You know, Obama had his things that he had to get done to put things into motion. God's plan. Trump does too. So with that said, please take time, step back, and realign where your perspective is and where where your vantage point is. First of all, it should be eternal. And once you can come at this from an eternal perspective, putting in place what Revelation says, what Matthew 24 says, what Daniel says, what's in Isaiah 17, Ezekiel 38, all of that. Zechariah 12, I think it is. And so all of that. Start overlaying all of that with who you see in power today. I'm not asking you to like any of them. I'm just asking you to realize what they're here for. It's not about us. It's not about America. There's spiritual warfare, and that is what we're seeing in the Democrats, in the fight between the Democrats and the Republicans, between the pro-life and the abortionists, and the gender fluid movements to the the binary gender framework, the design, the biology that God designed. So open up your vision. Quit being so narrow about it. Anyway, I got to take off. Y'all enjoy. Have a good day.